Hey mom, can I have a quarter? Hey, Fragorn here with another build guide. It is Sunday after the league start last Friday, so I guess day 9. I've already made 3 builds this league, which is unusual in the first 9 days, but it's just new cool gear. I just want to see what it feels like, so um, kind of hamstrung my progress with a little bit by just redoing these characters over and over again, but it's okay. I think I'm sitting on like 15 divine orbs or something and haven't really invested in any of them yet. Um, they're all cheap. No more. This Pathfinder probably has a divine and a half, maybe 2 divines worth of gear. So it's pretty cheap. And then I did my Elementalist Wander. Hadn't invested anything in that character yet either. Just a bunch of chaos, maybe 1 divine worth of chaos or something. And then my Soul Rest League starting Necromancer was super cheap. I mean, probably 30 or 40 chaos only invested in that character. Um, so I'll do updates on all 3 of them. But for now, this is what I'm trying, and the reason is this ring. Coiling Whisper. I'm sure you've heard about it. A lot of people are playing it or building with it or figuring out what to do with it. Um, for me, it was a no-brainer. You get that much Soul Eater. What Soul Eater does, if you're not familiar with that, when one of your hex expires on an enemy, or 90% of your hex duration expires on an enemy, you get a soul per enemy power. So it's 1 per normal. I feel like 5 per magic, 10 per rare, and 20 per unique. So it's relatively easy to get this up, especially in boss fights, which is what I do with it. I don't use it unless I'm in a boss fight because it's a pain in the butt to maintain as a mapping. So I'll talk about how I fixed that a little bit. But so what the Soul Eater does is 5% increased attack speed and 5% increased cast speed per soul, up to a maximum of 45. So I'm not going to do the math, but 45 times 5 is a ton of attack speed, and 45 times 5 is a ton of cast speed. Well, I get them both because I'm using Wilma's Requital. I'm a totem build. Increases and reductions to cast speed apply to attack speed as well. So I get 45 times 10 increased attack speed with this build. 450. That's easy math. 450 increased attack speed from 2 items is unbelievable. It's crazy. So the only problem with the build is I'm doing poison totems because I'm playing a Pathfinder. I do lose temporal chains because that is the shortest. That is the shortest curse. Let's see here. Where is it? So temporal chains has a base duration of 5 seconds. It's the shortest curse there is. You want temporal chains up in a poison build because you want cursed effects expire on enemies 25% slower. That's a big boost to poison damage. So I lose that, but I fixed it by putting it in the Embalmer. That has the tag 20% increased poison duration. So I lose 5% poison duration only. I'm getting my Despair Curse from my Mercenary. I got the Chaos one, the Cruelty or whatever her name is. Gives me Envy, which is amazing aura for a poison totem build. And gives me Despair Curse. So I get the Despair Curse up from her. I get the duration of poison from the gloves. These are also just good gloves. I mean, they have a little life, they have a little chaos resist, and they have a little more flat chaos damage, so none of that hurts poisons. I don't benefit from the socketed vile toxins because I have my rain barrels in here, and I'm Ancestral Bond from Wilma's Requital, so I don't do any damage myself anyway. It's just my totems, which I have 6. The normal totems you'd have on a Pathfinder is 6, unless you use multiple totems, then you'd have 8, but that's probably bad DPS. So what else I'm doing with this build? So other items are, I just bought a really cheap high physical DPS bow with tolerable attack speed. It had an open suffix on it, so I crafted a chaos damage over time multiplier. I think I paid 15 chaos or something for this bow. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's It's 615 physical DPS. It's enough to get you going, and it was super cheap, so I can obviously upgrade this. Um, I started running out of ways to scale the damage, because poison damage is kind of tough to scale. You can add duration, you can add flat damage to make it do more damage, damage over time, all that stuff. So I found this quiver, and I needed the 50 dexterity, so this is what I was actually looking for. You say, why does it have all that crit on it? And the answer is, crit actually is okay for scaling poison. A poison applied by a critical strike does 20% more damage than one applied by a non-critical strike. So I don't by any means go high into crit, but when I get it on gear that's cheap, and I think this was 5 KS or something I paid for this, I take it. So since I had a little crit on my quiver, I thought, where can I get a little more crit? How can I get this up? I think I got my crit up to, yeah, it says right now crit chance is 18.54. Let's see. Do you use with my power charges? So yeah, so I'm getting about 20% crit with my power charges up, and they're easy to get up because I link Frenzy and a Snaring Arrow, which is just nice. And Snaring Arrow is pretty useless because the main thing it does gives me is a little slowdown and a little increased projectile damage from attack hits, which does not benefit poison damage. But I have these guys critting pretty nicely with power charge and critical, so I'm at 4 power charges pretty much constantly. So it's nice. It's just a little bit extra crit, which gives me a little bit of extra damage. Otherwise, gives me the frenzies, which I want. Gives me the ensnare and arrow for slowdown, which I want. And I actually want the increased projectile damage because I took this note. 1% of physical attack damage dealt by my totems is leech to you as life. So I'm not doing a ton of physical damage with the hits. It's vastly more chaos because just how the skills work. But what I'm using right now is Barrage of Volley Fire. I just like this one because it just sprays the screens with arrows, but it doesn't clutter it up. There's not a bunch of pods on the ground like there is with Toxic Rain or some of the other typical poisony looking skills, whatever that other one is. I can't remember what it's called. Scourge Arrow. Just less clutter on the screen, so you basically get none. It's just little tiny arrows flying around, so you don't even see it. See that? Basically invisible. So it's very nice. So I'm using this for clear. Linked with totem. Linked with chain. It's fantastic. I don't have any pierce. I don't have any other sources of modifying the projectiles in the build. Linked with vicious projectiles, obviously that's the best poison, physical damage, chaos support there is. Unbound ailments, awesome, gives you the more damage and increased duration of ailments. And then I use Vile Toxins. I would get more poison DPS out of going to void manipulation or even more out of deadly ailments here, but Vile Toxins gives me a nice chunk of poison damage, but it also it's giving me 40% increased damage with hits. So this is significantly boosting how much life regen I'm getting from my totems, which is nice. You can see it's not great physical damage, but 6 of those pumping out just gobs and gobs of hits. It's very substantial how much you notice your life coming in. I'm not getting a ton of regen from other sources. I do have Winterheart excuse me, on my mercenary, and she's just crazy cheap gear. I got the daughters on her so she can cast her Despair Curse, just using a Dying Breath and a Leer Cast to give me extra damage, and then I should really try to get a sap on here, but I haven't gotten it yet. A little more damage over time multiplier for her chaos attacks, and then just stuff to fill out her resistances. Ambush is really seems to be like a really nice super cheap merc chest. Occasionally we'll get her endurance charges. Um, but it's just decent armor and decent energy shield, and she doesn't die much, so it seems to be working. And then I just have resistances on a belt, so not basically nothing on this character, um, on this merc for anything other than Leercast and these two to give me the bonuses that I need. So my loot, like I said, I got Wilma's just linked with my some of my auras. I got Arrogance with Precision and Clarity, so I'm actually just regenerating mana to cast. It's plenty. You can see it's coming up just fine. You don't have to spam these totems, so more than enough mana regen. Flame Dash in there. In my bow, I already showed you I have the Mana Forge arrows with Frenzy and Ensnaring, Power Charge on critical and increased critical strikes, and a Mirror Arrow here. I just use this to... That's kind of my movement when I'm dropping totems. I just go... Just leave a little decoys with me. It's very safe. My Fizz Max hit is so bad, I basically can't get hit. So that's the whole goal, is just not be hit. Just a decent AMI. Little damage over time multiplier. I needed strength and intelligence. I needed accuracy. So it's just super cheap too. It's a handful of chaos. This thing was probably 15, 20 chaos to buy. I don't remember, but it's cheap. More chaos resistance, life resistances, and needed accuracy and stats. Already talked about the Embalmer. Has its flat chaos, its life, its chaos resistance, and then the lovely poison duration. Just got a belt built for a Pathfinder with 20% increased flash duration, little resistances, some life, and strength that I needed. Crafted on a little more evasion and armor. Boots, just got, I needed fire resist. I needed a little more life regen. Got my chaos resist, got my movement speed, so this is good. And I take the poison deal damage faster. So flask wise, I'm almost maxed out on what I need. I think when I get my next node right here, that will give me the stats that I need to keep my 4 flasks up constantly. I have one that's reused at end of effect because of the 25 maximum charges, so I have to press this one at the start of maps. But got a big, nice evasion buff from this guy. Nice spell suppression buff and the phasing. A little more elemental resistance. Max cold, shock avoidance, so I can use that jewel that lets my shock avoidance give me all elemental ailment avoidance. I think it's called Storm Shroud. And then just a topaz flask with a little chance to avoid being stunned. So these flasks are not good. They're all like 79 or something still, 78 level flasks. I haven't farmed up good level 85 flasks yet and got really good buffs on them, but I will. So you can see I get fantastic uptime, but these are eventually going to fall off just sitting here. But I think once I take this node, they won't. That 10% reduced flasks used is probably going to do the trick. I hope. So, anyway, we'll figure it out. Buffing the flasks with Special Reserve gives me a little regen during flask effect, which is constant, little damage. Spike Concoction gives me the Alchemist Genius, which gives me more flask charges gained and increases their effect, so they're effective. I took a Spell Suppression small, so just got a little Chaos Resist out of it, life regen, Spell Suppression chance, just nice stats on here. And then big evasion and big spell suppression. I am 1 point shy of being spell suppression cast. Let's see, it's 99. So I will just hit this point right here for 3% movement, 3% spell suppress, and be 100% capped. Other stuff that I'm looking at, I think I'm only level 89. So yeah, I have a lot of points to spend still. I'll get to 96, 97 easily. I don't know if I'll push this all the way to 100, so definitely going to grab this, definitely going to grab that, so that's 2. We'll say there's maybe 4 more. I will probably... take these 4 right here. And again, crit's not that useful for poison, but The blind is fantastic. So I'll have permanent uptime on blind basically with this. 20% increased blind effect, which is outstanding. A little extra chance to crit him doesn't hurt because, like I said, the poison crit is 20% more effective than a regular one. And then I'll take 40% increased blind effect. So I'll have 50% increased blind effect. And if you don't know what blind effect is, being blinded causes you to have 20% less accuracy and evasion rating. So it makes them easier to be hit by me. Makes me way harder to be hit by them. So this, along with my my own pretty decent evasion numbers, will be a very nice defensive layer. So I grab some poison duration or flask duration here. Grab some flask duration here. This is just a really nice flask node, actually. A lot of people don't take this, but you get a lot of power. 20% flask charges gained for these two. And then 20% increased flask duration is super nice. So that's how I get pretty much permanent uptime. I only need this one reduction for mana wheel because I'm only using 2 regular 50s on my mana. I probably should try to find something else because I have a lot of leftover mana. I can maybe kick clarity out of there and have it be a mana reserved one instead, or kick precision out, take a little more strain off my life pool. Culling strike licked with blink arrow, so that's my cull. And yeah, that's the stats. Oh, how does this hex work now? So this ring needs to apply a hex, and the duration of that hex has to expire has 90% of its duration of 5 seconds base on a temporal change has to expire. So give or take, that's 4. But we buff it with Rain of Arrows casting it with Hex Touch, so nobody ever uses this anymore. But now it's a very good support for any build using this ring. You hit a guy with the hex, it automatically gives you 50% reduced curse duration. So it takes my 5-second temp chains down to 2.5. That's fantastic. So it only takes like 2 seconds for that to expire. Then I support that with less duration, so 45% less skill effect duration. Takes it down to mine lasts exactly 2.3 seconds right now. It was way lower, but I put Malevolence on as one of my auras because it's just the best poison aura, even though it gives me more skill effect duration, which I do not want. I solved this by I only use this setup on bosses or hard to kill targets. So I have two setups for my gloves and my ring slot here for switch out. So when I'm mapping and clowning around, I have this. So I just do a cast when damage taken, steel skin, just level 48, just a little extra safety. Power charger and critical storm brand. So more chance to get my crits up. Very easy. Probably don't need this, but I really don't need this. I could take it off. Probably put Creeping Frost or something in there to slow targets. I think I will actually do that. That makes more sense.
Godslayer.
Might as well make that Creeping Frost be bigger. There you go. Just fix that. So that's the gear. So now with Asenath's Gentle Touch, I'm getting my temporal chains and despair on targets while mapping. I get the little explodey, which is nice, and that's that. So back to the tree a little bit. I have Dendrobate on, if you hadn't seen that already. Gives me the 40% chance to poison because the Socketed Gem has poison on it. Big boost to poison damage and duration if you have the needed stats, which I do. 307 dex and 184 int. I get a lot of int from this, so I actually have to have more int than I need because when I switch to the Embalmer, I get on to 161, so kind of a pain, but Yeah, it is what it is. So this is big damage, but it's terrible defense. There's no armor on it. Minimal evasion and energy shield's okay, but it's not great. So I got almost 1,000 energy shield, almost 4,000 life, but I'm squishy to physical hits, so I just play smart. I'm playing totem, so I don't need to get hit. So I will show you a good map. I'll just ride up to the boss, show you how this game looks like with Asenath's Gentle Touch, and then I'll swap to this. Also, for serious bossing, I swap skills. So I use Caustic Arrow of Poison, which is just a way harder hitting poison skill, and I link it with Greater Volley because it hits 5 times guaranteed every time. So this will just apply 5 poisons. And when I have 450 increased cast speed, or and attack speed, from this ring going on, it's nuts. I think my Caustic Arrow goes down to something like, right now this is at attack time of 0.78. If I'm using this one and I switch to that glove and that ring and put on the 45 soul eaters, attack time with this goes down to 0.2. So 5 attacks per second, which is unbelievable. 6 totems attacking that fast, so that's 30 attacks per second. I think the attack time's very similar with the this guy. Yeah, I think it's the same. Yeah, there's no difference. So it's 5 hits 5 times a second. So each one of the totems will hit 25 times per second, and there's 6 of them. So you're just applying hundreds and hundreds of poisons. If I was better at POB, I could calculate it and give you a real number, but I suck at POB, so I just know it's high. So one more thought on this character before I show the map showcases. I may decide that poison is not the way to go. That losing the temporal chains curse is too big of a deal, and it's not going to work. So with Pathfinder, I have a way out in my head already of how I'll fix this. So I would give up Master Toxologist, not be a poison build, but keep the Withered and still do chaos damage. I would lose the healing from my totems, which stinks, and then I would just pick up this one, and then I could dump a bunch of Flask nodes on the tree. Switch to a Voltoxic Rift bow. What do they cost right now? They can't be much. So what I'm thinking with this swap is if I go, oh, that one's really cheap. I'm going to buy that right now. It's a good one too. Come on, dude. I bet he's already sold it. Why I thought that one was good, because it has a nice high roll. Its damage can go up to 750, and 723 for 30 chaos is a good roll. So you can see this one's only 620. That's a bad roll. They're charging way more. So anyway, yeah, he's already sold that, I'm guessing. Switch to Voltoxic Rift. Keep my Wither. Use one of these in here somewhere. Use this gorgeous baby on my Merc. Nearby allies damage with hits is lucky, so that would take my 1 to 730 lightning damage bow. That's 100% of it's being converted to chaos, because that's what it does. And it would give me 2 rolls on the damage modifier. So your base on a 700 bow, your base damage is going to be 350 lightning damage, because that's the average, that's the middle. But you roll it twice, it goes from, I don't know the true math, but 2 chances to get a higher roll puts your average damage something like 450 or 470 or something like that. I don't know the math. You can figure it out on the internet if you want to. but it gives you a much better chance of doing more flat lightning damage with this lucky coming from your merc. So that's how I would convert it if I decide poison's not the way to go. My merc still gives me the despair oral, which I need. I wouldn't even need to do a curse. If I did, I'd probably do Assassin's Mark. Just build a crit, use Voltoxic Rift, and just go all in on flat DPS. So I don't know what's the best attack for a totem. I'm kind of curious to see if I took frenzies, if I got all 6 frenzy charges and actually used frenzy as my main attack with returning projectiles. So I'd be getting 2 hits on every boss. You get 5% more attack damage per frenzy charge and 5% more attack speed per frenzy charge. Well, I already have an insane amount of attack speed. So if I can get 6 frenzy charges on there, that's 30% more damage from the attack, and 30% more attack speed. You could have frenzies coming out of these totems that look like a laser because of how fast they're shooting and returning. Anyway, it's just a thought that's popped into my head. It's something I'll play around with and test. So, but for now, I'm doing poison and liking it. I would also lose the Dendrobait if I switch to Voltoxic Rift and go to Lightning Coil, which would solve a lot of my physical weaknesses. So that's all there. So anyway, I'm just doing a dumb, relatively dangerous peninsula. It's got chaos resist, 25% chaos resist, bigger boss life. So this should be a good showcase of what this is like. Right now I'm in my Asnat's Gentle Touch, Barrage of Volley Fire mapping setup. Remember, I have to click my Jade Flask because it's the only one I have that's not activate when full. Let's reuse that in. So I'm nice and smooth. This is a quick character. If I feel like I'm in danger, then I start throwing out mirages. Just like that. And they actually help me move. But, yeah. As long as you're not dumb and just rushing headlong into packs, you don't need physical damage mitigation. The best defense in this game, ooh, there's a good flask, by far, is moving. It's 10 times better than armor. Just don't be hit. You can see I have plenty of DPS. That stuff's not lasting very long. Plus they're all getting hit by temporal chains, so this is a really safe build. If you've watched any of my build guides before, you know that I play safe. I don't like dying. Alright. I think I'll do this Sacred Grove. So, one of the things I want to show you is, here's my attack speed again, 0.78. Let's put on the juice for this. So what changes now is I get my 20% increased poison duration from the glove instead. Attack time is still 0.78. Nothing's really changed. But when you see when I start building up Soul Eater, it gets nuts. This can be a little dangerous. I might die here if I'm stupid, because you kind of have to let mobs live a minute. Let's see. Where I got 39. Now my 0.19 seconds. Tooltip DPS went from something to 6. So that's insane, hitting that fast with the totem. I mean, 0.19, and it's just it's dropping off because I'm losing my stacks. So it's kind of a pain in the butt for a playstyle. I would never, ever, ever play like this all the time. It's just not. It's not fun. It has no quality of life. It's not cool. But for killing harder targets, it's crazy. So we'll get this 1-2. We'll just get him the old-fashioned way with my Gentle Touch. So this is normal. I'm applying Temp Chains. My buddy's applying Despair. I took a physical hit right there and it dropped my health down big time. So you can see stuff's not dying as fast. That's it for sure. This guy would have been long dead if I had on the speed ring and gloves. But stay there. I'll just peek at these. I'm not going to do them all. Oh, this one's got 2. I should do it. My totems are kind of squishy. That's a pain in the butt, but they're cheap and I can reapply them anytime I want to, so. Pretty good. It's another shaper seed. I'll take that in case I want it for another merc. So I'm not using crop rotation. I'm just doing this tree. This was my first tree, and I started with harbingers and harvest and scarabs. It's basically nothing tree. Added green altars, so, but I don't do crop rotation. I just take this one. It's not as good as crop rotation, but it's doesn't require any thought. I get way more tier 4 and way more tier 3 plants, so it's not gonna drop thousands and thousands of life force like the crop rotation will when you hit a lucky one, but it's consistent. You get a bunch. I'm not even gonna bother with that one. They don't have anything. So I'm gonna take you to the boss. I'm gonna switch to my bossing gems and give you a feel for how this works. Oh man, this ward sucks. You see that crappy ward on there? That is the worst you can get. Gotta kite some of these guys away. Ward really sucks for a build like this. I mean, they're gonna die, but you see how much work I have to do to get through that dumb ward. Always just take minions, don't even read them. And I'm not even really doing any farming strategies yet. For real. I will eventually use the Harbinger part of this as my main strat and use Harbinger Scarabs. Try to get as many Harbies as I can. I don't think this will be the guy that I'll farm him with. This guy's going to be my boss killer. Is the plan. I don't need that. Alright. Here is the boss. So what I'm going to do... Why are they still shooting things out here? So I'm going to switch to full power. Give you guys a little taste of what basically nothing gear can do to a boss. Alright, everything is up. So now I got Rain of Arrows here to apply the curse. Now I got Caustic Arrow with poison here. So let's take a look. Alright, here's the boss. He's going to start generating those for me real fast. That's 29. Here comes 45. And he's going to go dead. See that? See, did you see that health going? Choo! Yeah, this works. Works well. Anyway, that's all I've got for this build. Hopefully you like it. And if you do, please hit the like and subscribe. It'll help the channel. And good luck with your 3.26. I'm having a blast. I already made 3 builds. I'm going to take a break on build making for a while and work on the 3 builds that I've made. Try to put a little of my currency into them and see what I can do. And hope you guys have good drops. Good luck. Thank you.